Great Father, guide your spirit's return to the Mother of all. There you shall find peace. Pharaoh.
Well, we're back, and I made a bit of a mistake here. Starting this part, I thought I would redo the boss fight, just so that we would have more Dalmascans survive. And they all died this time. I couldn't save a single one. That boss is actually genuinely quite scary if you stand close to him, and I guess they never blocked well enough. They died. So it's going to be just us and Bash here. It's okay, because Bash is a complete badass. He does a lot of damage. Welcome, guys. Let's return. Now, we are going to have a little fight with 3 Imperials running down this stairway. And we've got a ton more interesting things to talk about. So, first of all, let's just see who's the lowest health. Looks like this guy only has 238 health. The other guy's a good bit tankier, so let's go for him, even though he's level 5. In fact, that's good. If he's got low health, but he's the highest level, then he'll do the most damage. He's the biggest threat, but he's also squishy enough we'll be able to kill him. Now, I'm out of MP here, as you see. So, I'm going with basic attacks to work through him. You can recover MP in the game at any time by running around. Like so. Eventually it will come back. This does appear in other Final Fantasies. In 10 it was called MP Stroll, for example, as a perk. But it's just always there in this game. And it means in the early stages, while stuff's quite cheap, you can do a weird thing where you can play as a pure caster, if you like, where you just run around and then you'll get enough magic to cast something. So say here, I'm going to go with Thunder because it's a really quick snap spell. I'll go Thunder on the Swordsman D. And then follow up with an attack as quick as possible afterwards. We should be okay. Now, they get me a little bit low here, so I'm going to potion up. And yeah, usually we'd have Dalmascans with us that are helping and are potioning. So this is the tutorial instance. This is going to be genuinely harder than I think most people would expect here, just because I don't actually have my soldiers with me. Which kind of sucks. The soldiers are not full-on party members. We'll deal with stuff like that later. Oh, and another guy's come out. I don't remember this guy. Swordsman E. So there you'll see, by the way, we'll let Bash deal with him. Bash does so much more damage than us, it's unreal. Look at that, 111 when we only do 18. Look, he just knocks that dude out. And he will go wait for us. So, loot. This will despawn after a little while. Run over, pick up the bag. It says we obtain a potion. There are... Look, they're infinitely spawning. I did not know that was a thing. So there are mechanisms to get better loot in the game. We'll deal with all those as we go forwards. So I want to talk... Well, Bash is going to talk to us a little bit about maps in a second and navigating. Wow, this is a whole mechanic I didn't know about. I guess if you're slow here, they infinitely run out at you. But in the vanilla balance of the game, even in the PlayStation 2 vanilla balance, this is all very easy, so you don't really see this. This is one of the reasons I'm so excited to do these videos, because there's stuff that could have been cool even at PS2, and you just can't do until nowadays when you can mod stuff and tweak things and actually get the original design out. So you see these guys are blocking. If you have a shield equip, you get the evade stat, which helps you to block. We'll look at that in just a moment. Let's just hack our way through these guys and get up the stairs. I'm guessing if I just walk to the top of the stairs, they'll stop instantly spawning. Or maybe if I go through to the next zone, they'll stop. We could obviously just cast spells here. I'm mostly waiting for Bash to do the job instead of me here. But there we go. To the top of the stairs we go. He says, there's no simple way through the fortress. The mini-map at the top right of your screen may not be enough to gain your bearings. Should you lose your way, consult your location with the touchpad map, because I'm using the PlayStation controller. The map of the fortress we gave you before you set out. If you still find yourself at a loss, you can tab down L3, which will allow you to view the location map as you move. So there's loads of maps in the game. They won't keep spawning. I don't have to be paused, do I? First is the mini-map. Now, enemies appear as red dots on the mini-map. Allies appear as blue dots, as you can see up there. And to be honest, this is one of those games that I think is ruined by the mini-map. Because you just spend the whole time staring at it. Many games I've played have a similar thing, even going back to right when I started on YouTube with the original Guild Wars, the same thing was happening. So, one place where I'm breaking my rule for mods, most modding that I've done is just to try and reinforce what Square Enix did. However, I'm turning the mini-map off. it will make the game a million times more immersive. Particularly for me to play. I don't know about for you guys to watch. Hopefully that comes through. I cannot recommend it enough. I'm using something called the Insurgents Toolkit. It's over on the Nexus. You guys can check it out. Fantastic mod. Lets you change all kinds of weird little things. I will not be playing with a minimap. All of that said, there are other maps. First of all, I can hit the touchpad. So this map has been in all editions of the game, and I really love the UI. One of the things I think Final Fantasy XII does better than almost any game I've ever played is like UX and interaction stuff. So here you can see we are at the Nalbina Fortress. We're going to find our king. We're at the Inner Ward right now, this long road. Now, if I tap down, we can see we actually started at a place called the Aerial Gardens. It's night, so we don't really get to appreciate those gardens, but that's where we were before the gate. And if we look up, you'll see we actually kind of get an outline of new areas. Places we haven't been yet, they're grayed out, but you can see there's a lower apartment and then an upper apartment, and our goal is at this place called the High Hall. All these area names, by the way, are really cool. They're all intricate and fun in the way that they're named, but you only really get them if you actually open the map, so I'll be trying to do that as the playthrough goes through. And then we get a little bit of quest text at the bottom. I must reach the king before he signs the treaty, because as we just heard from Ondor, he's going to be betrayed, and we've been tipped off. So, there's this map. The newest edition of the game added this map, which overlays... Now, one of the things that's kind of stupid about this and pointless is, well, we have a mini-map already. This is kind of another mini-map. So you can really end up cluttering your screen. This map is really useful. Like, unbelievably useful. It won't show where enemies are, but in terms of just navigating, I have done playthroughs of Final Fantasy XII in the past where all I'm doing is using this map. And I'm like looking at the screen and I'm looking at the game, but I'm not really enjoying or appreciating anything. Because I'm just staring at, you know, this sort of more abstract map that's been overlaid. So I am not going to be using this very much either, even though I do think it is very pretty, and it's available for you guys as you play along as well. So mostly, I'll be using the main original PlayStation 2 map, which is this one, and actually disabling the minimap. And like, case in point, for example, here in the world, you see this gateway here? There's a cool road over there and stuff. I want to play the game, sort of wondering if I'll be able to go through there at some point, or, you know, walk over. Can I actually interact with this door? Is it going to give me an exclamation mark to interact with this door? Oh my god, the guys are respawning. Unbelievable. But the minimap betrays that. Obviously, you can't. And it's a bit tedious to come here and check all the time. So the game's just more immersive with the minimap turned off. Believe me, guys. And in fact, I'm going to pause the video now and restart the game. I thought I would start this series with the minimap on there, just so you guys can see. I'm now going to reboot 12. And the map will be off, and we'll go into this next area, which is going to be the lower apartments. Alright, so actually, as we run up here, let's make sure we're potioned. I'm going to have to do it again, because I just loaded the autosave. And then let's make sure Barsh is potioned as well. Now, I think technically, because we are just in the tutorial right now, look at that, we potioned him and he barely got healed. I think he might actually be invulnerable, I don't know. I don't know if he could die, I'm pretty sure he can't. So, you know, maybe don't potion him, but it seems right.
Vossler! Where are you?
What if Captain Ozilus has fallen?
Don't talk such nonsense. Vossler's laughed in the face of death far too many times for him to stop now. Men like him don't die in places like this. We must make haste to reach the king. We will take him to safety.
Is His Majesty unharmed?
He'll agree to an unconditional surrender. They wouldn't dare touch him until the wax on his seal is dry.
But if we arrive after he signed the treaty...
Wait. Quickly, Rex.
Man, this is so weird. If you have allies with you, they're in that cutscene, like, running forwards a little bit. Okay, so, yes, we only have a limited time before the king signs the treaty. Now, what I'm going to do is go into config, and I'm going to show you what the game looks like under active, which is the way I want to play this normally. So, as we run through, you'll see we've got all these different directions to go in. And if we had a mini-map, we would know that this was a dead end, but we actually have to look and see now. And, you know, Barsh seems to be leading us in that direction, but my explorer's inclination is to go in another direction. You never know, maybe we can walk over to these and interact with them. Maybe we can come over to these. Now, there are chests and things you can find around off the hidden path, so we want to keep our eye out. But mostly, look, this is a nice... They call this a fortress, but it feels like a palace to me. Mostly, we're just going to be heading forward. So, now you'll see I'm in the menu. Barsh is just fighting away over there. And I'm going to make sure I stand back a little bit so that they don't target me. And try to get fire out on that guy. There you go. Look, we get the kill. Now we can go for this guy. So they will teach us a little bit about fleeing here. He says there are several enemy soldiers beyond this point. However, Rex, there is no need to destroy them all. Sometimes it's necessary to escape. So if you hold R2, that will allow you to abandon the fight and run away. Escaping from a pointless battle is nothing to be ashamed about. So flee mechanics have been available in a lot of Final Fantasies, but because the combat system in this one's totally different, they were kind of going for... Wow, he just destroyed that guy. I think that was a spellcaster. So, he died real fast. All right, Bash, I'm going to leave you there. So, the flee mechanic is this. We hold it, and if I'm fleeing, Rex won't, like, pull his sword out, and he won't, like, continue chaining auto attacks or whatever once I've told him to do the first one. He'll just move. And if I have lots of other party members, they will also just move too. It doesn't do anything beyond that. So you can still die and everything's still as normal. It's just if all you want to do is move, then use this. You can also use this to like rally everyone to you. Let's say I want Bash over there. If Bash was listening to me, if I hold this, he'll come running straight to me. So it's a useful tool for that. We'll deal with it later. In fact, I might use it now. I guess we'll see. So here's a chest. It's a potion. Chests in this game are very different to normal Final Fantasy chests. There's a lot of randomness involved with them, and we'll deal with them later. This is a lovely room filled with trinkets and drinks and things, I see. So, Bash is probably sick of waiting up for me here. I'll just keep following him along precisely. This is wild! This corridor is usually filled... Oh, there you go. There's two. Is usually filled with enemies. There they are. All right, they're all chasing us. So the idea is the game is genuinely teaching us you might want to flee here. So, you see I'm kind of low health. I can hold flee and run. The one thing I can't do while fleeing is open the battle menu. If I want to battle again, say to potion or whatever, then I have to stop fleeing. And there, you saw, because I'm in active mode, if I'm trying to potion quickly, you've really got to be good at getting through the menu, because he might attack you while you're low on health before you get the potion in, and then you're screwed. So anyway, I'm just going to drag this guy back over to Bash here. We don't really have any AoE spells just yet. We'll get those later in the game. So balling enemies up isn't really a thing right now. But, you know, that might be another reason you bring them together. Oh, I thought, yeah, he did. He got the kill. So that whole combo thing, I alluded to it a little bit in the previous part. Basically, every time someone strikes, based on their speed stat and some other things, the kind of weapon that they're holding, they have a chance of comboing. If you played the very original Final Fantasy, you remember there was a combo system in that. Basically, Bash will have a high chance to combo right now. I'm going to have a very low one. So here again, I'm trying to cast fire, but I'm quite low, so I'm instead going to actually swap to use a potion instead. So we do much less damage, but we do attack quickly, so I mean, that's quite nice. Hitting for 20s here. It is possible we'll level up in the fortress if we stick about for too long. And again, I could just skip all of these guys and go straight up that staircase. As you can see, we're in the lower apartments now, and that's going to be the upper ones just higher up. I do want to have a quick peek around, though. I'm pretty sure there's another chest in here. There it is. So we can grab this. Sometimes chests will appear. Sometimes they will not appear. In the original version of the game, you had to leave 3 zones away and then return to re-roll a chest. So, for example, if I know that a chest can spawn next to this door, but it doesn't appear for me, what I have to do is walk to this road, and another one away. And then if I run all the way back, all the enemies and everything will respawn, and I've got a chance of seeing the chest. The devs didn't really want players doing that. They had an idea with this game that you get what you're given, and the idea is like there's a certain amount of fate involved. Fate is a big theme in this game's story. We'll see as we go forward. But it came through the gameplay as well, and that's how they designed the chest system. The idea being that, you know, there was chance to stuff. Not everything was set in stone. But it turned out players didn't like it, and people would just re-roll by moving back and forwards. So in the new releases, instead, you can do it just with one map, which you'd think is better, but it basically just turns the game into this almost obnoxious thing where you're constantly going up and down stairs, which is ridiculous. And so a lot of that's been modded out now. But I did want to tell the story. All right, so we go upstairs. We're in a new area. Enemies will not follow you through area boundaries, so you're going to be safe. But if I return, they'll still be standing there looking for me. And they won't have despawned or anything. This guy, see, oh no, he's at 100% health. But sometimes, you know, if they're low on health, they'll still be low on health when you go back through. It's just they'll give up at the boundaries. So these are always good places to fight. Hello, Bash. He says, this is a save crystal, Rex. You can save your progress by approaching a crystal and pressing X. Touching one of these also fully restore your HP and MP. Though you'll gradually recover MP as you move about, it can take time, so do not miss this opportunity to refresh yourself and your allies. There is more I would tell you, but we've no time. Heed the lessons of the battlefield, and you will do well. So yeah, they had a lot going on with the new combat system in terms of like how MP worked. There's actually a ton of ways to recover MP, but the main one is save crystals. We've seen this in a lot of games. So yeah, I'm gonna save. There are a default of 200 slots, and I've actually got all of them filled. I'm not joking. And if I scroll through them, they might end up being a little bit spoilery. So I'm just gonna save over this file here. We have 9 gil. We are level 3. Sorry, I should clarify. Gil is this game's money, gold, currency system. It's called Gil. And I'm gonna swap back. You get a little portrait of Rex there as well. So that's a save crystal. You notice we're back up to 100% health and we don't have to use items. Pretty good, and they do fun things. There's different colored save crystals you find later. It's all rather wonderful. You might be wondering why I keep coming up to these doors. It's because we will be able to open one of them in a second. Let's just go up the stairs here as well. We should get a little cutscene and another challenging fight. But there's a little trick to it.
Intruders! Don't let them escape!
Again, we could have had allies.
We have little time. You must go to the king. I'll handle these.
Fight well.
Okay, so normally I would play this on active, but I'm going to do it on wait so that I can talk you guys through stuff. Also, just by the way, earlier they did ask us to look at like our stats and stuff. So on the left here, you can see our attributes panel. Attack power, damage we do. Defense, damage we resist. Magic resist, magic damage we resist. Evade is the chance for us to block. I know that sounds like we would dodge or whatever, but that's actually a block chance. Magic evade is to get around magic. That's going to be 0 for a really long time. You only get magic evade from very precise places in the game. Usually, if magic is being cast, it's going to hit. And that's, I guess, because magic costs mana to use, MP to use. Other stuff doesn't, so... You know, if it also missed, that would be a bit of a shame. And then you can see we've got a lot of magic power. Our spells hit hard. We've got strength. Vitality is how long our like conditions and stuff last. And speed is generally how fast the charge bar goes up. There's also in the middle here status effects. And you'll see we have this thing called Libra. The character can perceive detailed information about foes. So the reason we have Libra is because we've actually got an accessory equipped called a Libra bangle, which we can't access, I guess, right now. That's kind of funny. Oh, no, here you go. Accessories. The bangle. So this on equip gives us Libra, and it also helps us with traps. We'll deal with traps later. So with Libra, what that means is I actually see their health on the top left. If I didn't have Libra, and that's what that blue icon is above Rex's head this whole time. If I didn't have Libra, and because we weren't wearing this bangle, it would all be a complete mystery to us. Now, these guys will actually kill us. If we just stand here, we can lose this very easily. But you'll notice this guy's got 140 health. This guy has 158. This dude only has 40. So we could snipe him down with some magic, or we can just kill him with a couple of sword attacks. There's 1. There's 2. And as soon as he's dead, we won't be so overwhelmed anymore. So now we can focus maybe on someone else. Magic, again, is probably the best way to do it. You're always going to have a lot of MP here because you did just hit the save crystal. But you'll notice they can get you low, so you wanna watch out. You can kind of kite as well while you're charging. In the last part, I mentioned that you couldn't move while using spells. What I specifically meant there is as the animation for the spell is coming out. While charging, like here, charging you can move. So you can try and get away. And it's kind of weird because it sort of helps, but then they will always just attack you when you stop to use the spell, so maybe it doesn't help. It helps later with positioning when we have more party members. And now with that guy dead, we can preserve our MP and sort of just slash our way through this dude. I'm hoping I don't need to potion here. There we go, nice. And so down he goes. Pretty cool. So there's this other staircase. We could return now if we really want, and you always want to note this. If there's a save crystal nearby, it's usually a good idea to just quickly hit it and restore yourself and then move on. In theory, we could have done that fight in so many ways. We could have spammed fire and hoped for oil again like we got on the boss. We could have just used thunder for really quick hits. So each black magic spell in the struggle for freedom has a slight extra perk to it. Fire is you've got a chance to oil, so if you chain cast fire and you get oiled, suddenly fire can hit really hard, way harder than the other elements. Thunder's big thing is that it's instant. So, what are other items here at the start as well, by the way? We get an ether. Ethers restore our MP. We could have thrown that as well. And high potions heal us for a lot. We could have used that on Bash earlier. So finally, this is, I mean, there's not a thing there. Finally, here's the door that we can enter. There you go, the passage door. And look at this, guys. We started with a whole group. Vossler, Bosch, Vossler seemed a bit hardened, a bit of a douchebag. But he moved on. Everyone else is dead. We're alone now. I like that about this whole Nalbina Fortress section. We end up alone, and who knows what's happened. This, by the way, is the High Hall, and this is the end of the tutorial right here. I kind of wanted episode 1 to end at this moment, but we had so much to talk about, so we'll get it now. Well, we've all been slaughtered. Remember, this is after most of the Damascan forces are dead as well. You know, we're like the elite guard. And even we're all dead. And the king?
Your Majesty. Captain, why? Our king, what have you done?
The king intended all along to sell Damascus to the Empire. His Majesty was a traitor.
Sounding a lot more menacing there, Bosch.
Captain,
Seize the insurgent.
Hello.
Well, so much for peaceful negotiations.
We'll never surrender to you. We are not cattle to be sold by a traitor king.
But the war is over, my dear captain. You have lost. Dalmasca is the property of the Empire now. And to think, we intended to let you keep some of your sovereignty, out of respect. But now you've gone and ruined that. Haven't you, Captain?
We will never bow to you.
And the people of Dalmasca will hate you for it. Take the captain away.
Off you go.
I mean, I kind of can't blame him if he doesn't want the treaty signed, but I mean, what is that, regicide? Not a good look. So, a fallen knight, disgraced.
Vaan.
And our thoughts as we fall unconscious are of our younger brother.
Pretenses of peace left by the wayside, the Arcadian forces resumed their advance toward Rabanasta. Dalmasca's doom had been decided. To make resistance would serve no end. With this foremost in my thoughts, I to the people of Dalmasca. Sons and daughters of Dalmasca, I bid you lay down your arms. Raise songs of prayer in their stead. Prayer for His Majesty King Raminas, ever merciful, a man devoted wholly to peace. Prayer, too, for the noble Princess Ash, who, wrought with grief at her kingdom's defeat, has taken her own life. Know also that Captain Bosch von Ronsenberg, for incitement of sedition and the assassination of His Royal Majesty King Raminas, has been found guilty of high treason and put to his death. They who at this late hour choose still the sword are cut of the same cloth as the captain. Traitors who would lead Dalmasca to her ruin. Dalmasca's surrender without terms was soon to follow.
So, again from the memoirs of Halim Ondor. So, a little thing to know is, and I'm trying to find a good moment to pause here as we... Alright, a little thing to know is that there's a third small nation nearby. It's not on the ground, it's in the sky. We'll learn more about it later, but that's where Ondor is from. And so he's kind of a third party watching all of this happen. And yeah, he advised everyone of Dalmasca, you know, Nabradi has just been destroyed. The prince is dead. The king is dead. The princess is dead. Pretty much everyone we've been introduced to in the story is a goner here. And he basically says, look, this is futile. Just give up in order to preserve something of Dalmasca. And so obviously the Arcadians like him saying that, and you know, I'm sure that covers his own neck in his own little area of the world, and that was his advice. They listened to it. And so now it's like 2 years later, and it's going to be a lot more happy. It's very sad at the moment in the story, but it's a bit cheerier now. Well, I say that, we are in a sewer. You always need a good sewer section in a game, guys.
Vaan! Hurry it up or they'll find us.
I know. Just a little more. You keep an eye out for me up there, Kites. 1, 2, 3 more. All right. Time to clean house.
Okay, so I lied. Man, I'm not going to be able to play on active too much, am I? I've got too much to talk about. I lied. In this game, we do not play as Rex. In this game, we play as Vaan. So, yes, we are now the younger brother we were thinking so much all about. What has happened over the past 2 years, I guess, will be unveiled. But we're a little street thief, and we are messing about in these sewers, practicing our sword arm against these rats. Now, in the original game, Vaan started with a sword, but ever since the International Zodiac job system, he starts with a dagger instead. And it's the Rex's sword was called the Mithril sword. Instead, we have a dagger now. So, what do we want to do? Well, kill 3 rats. Pretty simple. It's kind of funny, on the minimap here, these rats appear as bosses, which is very weird, and about one of the only pieces of minimap trivia I'm going to have for you for the whole series, so enjoy it there. And yeah, if we look at our map here, you can see that we are at a place called the Garamsythe Waterway, in the Overflow Cloaca. Cloaca being a word for basically the combined urine and fecal matter tract for birds, right, basically, I think. Anyway, we're on a roll. Time to clean up. Quest text most people would never read, because why would you look at the map here? So the rats aren't too bad. The main big thing to notice about rats, and here, by the way, you'll notice we have a new ability. This is we can't cast spells. We're not as good of a fighter as Rex was, but we can cast, do get this new skill, that's Still, which we can use to take items from enemies, as you're familiar with, hopefully, from several other Final Fantasies. So Vaan stole a rat pelt there, you'll see. The way the stealing works is enemies have like common steals, rare steals, you can augment them with various perks, but you only really get 1 steal once it's done. If you try a second time, as we'll see here, we're going to keep an eye on our health as well, it says he has nothing to steal anymore. So you kind of just want to steal from something once, hope you get lucky, and then move on with your life. Or do the kind of crazy thing where you keep re-rolling by resetting the instance or something. Anyway, wow, look at where we've paused here with the rat in midair. That's kind of great. So yeah, we'll hit him again. Did we just get a block? That's nice. Now, the rats do run away from us. You get a little bit more of a sense of movement in combat here. There's 2 more, and they seem to be hiding. There's one. If you're not careful, they'll attack you from behind. That's one of the nice other things about minimaps. Enemies can actually sneak up to you. So, we got one obviously chasing us. Is the other one up here, maybe? Alright, we'll have to find the other one in a second. I don't know. I'd rather fight this guy here anyway. Just because... nice, look, we get a combo there. 3-hit combo, and he's down. Just because of a bit of good luck there. And I'm going to use another potion here. I wanted to fight him up here, because if it took a while, this guy might have snuck up on us, and it would not have been good to fight 2 at once. I know that sounds silly, but again, everything's tuned. If you guys have played regular FF12... Zodiac Age, everything's so easy. 90% of what I'm saying here is not true, but now it is, which is what I'm very happy about. Oh yeah, also you can fail to steal sometimes, like there. Vaan couldn't steal from Dairat B, and so we've got to keep trying. I'm not going to be too min-maxy with stealing. We'll find ways to like automate and play with our party later that make all of this a lot better. God, I've got through so many potions here. Usually I only drink like 1. I could have risked him hitting me again, but I'd really rather not. Oh yeah, so the other thing as well I did want to mention is we no longer have the bangle equipped. We got very basic gear here, so you'll see we don't know the level of the rat, we don't know the health of the rat. It's a mystery. In vanilla, they have health bars that kind of betray that, but obviously Square Enix had an idea at one point in development that if you didn't have Libra, you shouldn't know how healthy they are. So I've returned that by getting rid of the health bars above their head. You can see, however, do you see how he's flashing there, red? So that means he's in critical HP. So even though we can't know his real health right now, he is critical, he's low. So we know that we can almost get the kill. And that could be useful, actually watching their animations. And you know he's one hit away if he's critical.
Wow, Vaan, you got him all yourself? Guess I know who to call when something big comes along.
Hey, it's good practice for the desert. I'm ready for anything now. That's enough for today. You should get back to Miguel's place, Kites. Aren't you running errands for him?
Oops, totally forgot.
Who is this Miguelo?
You should come, Vaan. He's busy today. Might have some work for you to do, too.
I've got other, work to do. Hey, lock this place up for me, will you? If Miguel finds out we've been down here, he'll tan our hides.
So later in the game, we will be able to go back there, but it'll be a bit away. In fact, a lot of stuff happens right in that little room with the rats. I'll be sure to talk about that later. So where are we? It's Rabanasta. It's the place we saw in the first cutscene at the very beginning. Oh, such iconic music, man. Very nostalgic to me. I can't believe we're finally here playing the game. I'm so happy. So we're in the year 706, 2 years after the fall of Dalmasca. Sorry, I kind of spoiled that a second ago. There you go.
What'd you say?
Sir, you haven't paid, and I...
What? Haven't paid?
On second thought, please, sir, take it. It's a gift.
Leave the poor sod be. We don't want trouble today.
Your luck, peddler.
Oops, sorry.
Watch where you're going, churl.
What? My pouch? It's gone.
The boy! Get out the way.
Ha ha ha. I love this. I like the idea that these guys are being willfully obstructive. Do not like the Arcadians right now. They are not very fun people. They're also all British, which is a nice little touch that the localization team did. In the original Japanese release, they all had generic accents. But for the West, they actually kind of add some more texture to it, which is nice.
Hey, that's mine.
What do you mean, yours? You've been stealing again. What happens if they catch you? We need you to be there for us, Vaan. You're no good to anyone if you're locked away in a dungeon.
Oh, what? Am I the leader now? We're orphans. The first thing you learn is you gotta watch out for yourself. Come on, Pinello. You know it as well as I do. Hey, you give that back. What do you think you're doing?
I thought that this money was the people of Dalmasca's property. The Imperials stole it from us, so it's only fair that we take it back. It's our duty as Dalmascans. Well, wasn't that what you said?
Yeah, but I never said anything about taking it back from me.
This is for that bread you took the other day. Just because I help Miguelo out every now and then, it doesn't mean that you get to eat for free too, you know.
I know that. You think I like living like this? One of these days, I'll fly an airship of my own. I'll be a sky pirate, free to go where I will.
Well, be careful. You'll never fly anything if you're rotting in a dungeon. Oh, Miguelo had some errands that need doing. He wanted you to drop by his place. It might be a good idea to lend a hand.
So, there we have it. I love the look of those coins in that cutscene, by the way. I don't know, they're just such an interesting, weird shape. Our location map often bears a mark showing our destination. Consult the map when you are unsure of where to go. And that's the X that we were looking at there. I actually kind of already showed off. We get the world map available in the party menu. And we are free to move about Rabanasta. Well, sort of. We can't go back to where we watched the cutscene just now, because obviously we just nicked some money from these guys. And he says I should probably make myself scarce right about now. And we have to leave. Yeah, those Imperials with a British voice, I kind of like it. Now, it kind of leads me into a big conversation a lot of people think that this is meant to be the Star Wars Final Fantasy. As I talked about in the last episode, we obviously see that there's a lot of technology going on, you know, that magical technology mix with this game. That was happening in a lot of these Final Fantasies, but people kind of think that this is all Star Wars-y. I guess it's because it opens in a deserty region, and some of the characters feel very equivalent to various Star Wars characters. But the truth is, I think Square said that was never really deliberate on their end. The thing that was deliberate was the localization team that said, oh wow, we even get a slightly different message here and earlier. The localization team, they made the conscious decision to have Imperials sound British, like the Stormtroopers and the Empire in Star Wars. So that was deliberate, but it's kind of not the same as the whole idea of the game. Anyway, yeah, this is going to be a bit Star Wars-y, and I suppose that's enjoyable. So the Rabanasta says, you're getting into trouble with the Imperials again, Vaan. Well, try and be careful, if not for your own sake, then for Magello and Pinello, who are our friends. Here's this lonely boy. He says there sure are a lot of Imperials out today. They think they're so great, but I hate them. And so there's a ton of people we can talk to, you see already. Hey, mister, you want to hear about the history of Rabanasta? It won't cost you much. What? I got to eat too, you know. See, 1 gil ought to do it. A whole gil? Well, as you can see, we start with 150. I guess that's what was in that pouch there. So pretty good. Let's hear it. I think you can keep paying this kid too. He says, okay, so 2 years back, Rabanasta lost the war with the Empire. That's when all the guards came and made us live under the city. The Empire has one person who runs the city and everything. He's called a consul. The new consuls come in today. That's why there's so many guards. Kind of short her. Well, don't worry, I'll try and find some new things to add for next time. I'm not sure if he ever does add new things as the game goes along. But yeah, so we're going to get a consul. The consul is actually one of the sons of the Emperor himself. The Arcadian Emperor, that is, who we must now bow fealty to. Which sucks, but hey. So there's going to be a big event in the town soon. You can cut the tension with a knife out here on the streets today. Guards at every corner, I can hardly stand it. If anyone asks, I said nothing. Nothing. Understood? Now, if you guys have watched any of my videos before, you know I love to really dive into a game and get to show you guys everything about it. The thing is, I think Square Enix have beaten me here, really, because there's so many NPCs. And you know what's funny? A lot of them have updating dialogue constantly. Like, you go a little bit ahead in the story, and all their dialogue updates. And sometimes you, like, speak to them twice in a row, and their dialogue updates. Like here, he says it's swearing even here in the shade. Maybe I'll head up to the Sandsea and get something to drink. That's that pub there. Now, if I speak to him again, he's repeated himself, but sometimes they don't repeat themselves. They tell you something new. So the idea of showing you guys all the NPC dialogue is just nuts. I mean, I'm not joking. But I'll do it as much as I'm having fun. And we'll see. I was just down at Magello Sundries, that Magello coming and going, so I'm half afraid. Wait, what did he say? That Magello coming and going, so I'm half afraid he's going to wear the door off its hinges. Hearing a lot about Magello. This guy looking at the guard. He says they've closed off all the stairs to Lowtown. Can you believe that? I don't care how important today is. This is absurd. So, Lowtown. There's a stairway here. No traffic in or out of Lowtown until the Lord Consul's assumed his post. No exceptions. So, Lowtown is where we have to live now. Underground. It's a bit like Final Fantasy VII's Midgar, I guess, to a certain extent. And they won't even let us go down there today. Nuts. So here's a cool guy. He's a Banger. So Banger is one of the intelligent races that we will meet. They kind of have this idea that because where Rabanasta is and Dalmasca is, and I guess Nabradia too, these places are right at the center of 3 big continents. So you get loads of different kinds of trade and people traveling through, and lots of races mix here. And anyway, the Banger are the one of them. Only been 2 years since Princess Ash took her own life, but it seems like Rabanasta's been in the Empire forever. Not that I'm complaining. This guy's listening in right here. So yeah, really sad stuff, honestly. Like, all the characters they show us in the opening cutscene, just dead and gone. And you might be wondering, why the hell did they do that? Well, we will go on. So, yeah, I guess I'll talk to an Imperial. A bit cheeky, considering we just nicked from them. Step back now! I haven't finished interrogating these 2 yet. I like this. I think what they're doing is... They know that a kid and a female companion were seen consorting around the area of the crime. And so now he's interrogating these 2, wondering if that's, you know, they're Vaan and Pinello, basically. There's a magic shop there. And there are options for where we go. So if we look at the map here, you'll see I can go north. But there's really no need right now. I'm not going to worry about that. There's all kinds of obscure dialogue I could be showing to you guys in this game because it is very open world. People kind of complained about 10, which was the previous main series game. 11 doesn't count. It was an MMO. That 10 was a bit too linear, so they went in the complete opposite direction on this one. It is not linear in the slightest. There's so much possibility. It's very open worldy. There's a nervous energy running through the city with a whole new console coming. I think I already spoke to you. Well, I spoke to someone else talking about cutting tension with the knife. Kid called Bucko. Later, we'll find him in Lowtown. Everyone sure seems busy today. You, Kites, Pinello, me. Don't worry, I got my own work to keep me busy. I'm going to be so rich that I know I'll be rich enough to buy an airship. You can ride it anytime you want, Vaan. Yeah, not before me, kid. So, this is Miguelo.
Vaan, I was waiting.
Pinello said you needed something?
Had me some packages supposed to be arriving by courier. In the morning, perhaps he ran into some trouble out in the desert. Now I've no foodstuffs to prepare for the banquet tonight.
So you want me to find this courier? Hey, no problem.
No problem. The desert teems with trouble. I'd be sending you to an early grave, my boy. No, I've arranged for some replacement goods from Tomage over at the Sandsea.
So you want me to go to the tavern to pick him up?
Actually, I asked Kites to do that. Wouldn't you know he's gone missing on me, too? I can't leave my shop, and I've Pinello on another chore at the moment, you see. What I want you to do is run over to the Sandsea and fetch Kites back. What do you say?
Sounds wild.
It's easy work, and you'll thank me for it someday.
I like this. We really start at the lowest of the low, the most boring, choresome task possible. And where we will end up, my friends, where we will end up. So you can come back and actually speak to him again in here. Voiced by the wonderful John DiMaggio as well, of course. This character is actually not a huge character in the story, and yet it's got like this big name voice actor. I kind of like, to be honest, I don't recognize too many voice actors from this game, but I do him. So, he says, well, have you found Kites yet? Bah, I don't know what I'm going to do with a lot of you. Oh, I'm grateful for your help. You work hard when you want to, but lately you don't seem to want to, do you? What was it that set me off complaining? Ah, yeah, Kites. Go find Kites. He should be at the Sandsea. Hurry now, time's wasting. And what's especially boring about this is the Sandsea is where we were just a second ago. But this is his shop. Welcome to Miguelo's Sundries. How might I be of service? And it does actually function as a real shop. So, you'll see we can buy different kinds of ammunition here. We only have 150 gil. And this costs 100, so we're not going to. Now, I want to say, one of the best things about Final Fantasy XII is the economy and buying stuff from shops. You nearly always want to do it, and you nearly always just don't have enough gil for everything you want to do. It's really well balanced. In fact, some of the best balance I've ever seen in a game. There's also this page here where we can buy potions and eye drops. Eye drops will clean blind off of us if we get hit with that status. I'm just going to buy one potion, I guess, for now, to recover one of the useless ones we dealt with in the rats. Oh, yeah, and I can also show you loot. So we can sell stuff. I don't want to sell the dagger. I don't want to sell the armor that I'm wearing. I don't want to sell the potions. But over here, there's loot. So loot are basically items that are only there to be sold. And you see, we've got 2 rat pelts. Did I not steal from the 3rd rat? An easily torn yet very pliable and small pelt. These are suited to a variety of uses, but fetch a low price due to their ready availability. So yeah, we don't get too much money, but by selling 2 of them, 70 gil, which is pretty nice. We could get another thing. Now, there's that final option down there called the Bazaar. When I first played this as a teenager, I never messed with the Bazaar, but it's actually a huge feature that I can't believe on my earliest playthroughs I never messed with. We'll deal with that later. It's grayed out, as you can see. I'm not going to talk to everyone in the shop. There's like, as you just saw there's like 8 people we could talk to in the shop. And I'm not joking, they're dialogue updates later. Do anything suspicious and we'll lock you up so fast your head will spin. Don't think we'll let you off because you're young, neither. This guy says, my friend here says that there are 14,264 cobblestones in the southern plaza around the corner, not including the tiles in the fountain. But even with the stones by the city gates, course, he could be counting the flagstones too. That would be another matter altogether. That's just the kind of insane dialogue that I kind of enjoy. So if we tried to go to the fountain he was just talking about, this dude says, none of my business, I know, but Miguelo did ask you to go to the Sandsea, didn't he? It's just that over that way, so oh, never mind me. So he tries to stop you, but you can keep moving if you really want. Don't worry about this area. We'll come back here in a minute. That's the southern plaza. You see that UI on the bottom left that says where we are? We're at the Rabanasta and East End right now. I really like that. It kind of gives you a much better sense of all these cool special places you can go to in the world. But the funny thing is that it only really appears there in cities. For anywhere that's in the regular area where you fight, it won't appear. I guess because the UI overlaps with other stuff. One of the mods I kind of wanted to work on was like getting that working. But I just don't have the technical talent for any of that kind of stuff, so whatever. All right, okay, I almost went past it here. So this is the Sand Sea. A nice little sign and some nondescript text here. Innocently walking past the Sand Sea I was when a sudden thirst seized me. But I ain't going in, gotta save my gill. Reminds me of a Mitchell and Webb skit of a guy that, some poor alcoholic old man that goes to a shop first thing in the morning. Really depressing, honestly. And he makes a whole big song and dance about the fact that he's buying booze and he doesn't want to be judged for it. Anyway.
There you are, Kites. Stop loafing around.
Look, Vaan, look! This is it! This is why Miguelo's courier didn't get here on time.
A creature spotted in the Ester Sand. What is that thing?
Ah, Vaan. Miguelo sent you too, did he? He's a busy man these days, that Miguelo, if I dare say so myself. I don't envy him the work, though. Not a bit. Quite the affair throwing a banquet to welcome the Imperials, eh?
Welcoming? We should be... whatever. Say, Tomaj, what's this?
Nah, don't remind me. Got some nastiness out there in the Ester Sand. What's stopping our couriers? And that means shortages all around. Thought I'd put up a bill, offer a reward to anyone who can knock that nasty back in its place.
Now that's work. Sounds 10 times better than running errands for Miguelo.
That's right. Vaan, you should give it a shot.
And you should be getting back to Miguelo. Now, Kites. He was waiting for you.
Oh, right.
So, the bounty boards. This is a big thing in this game. One of the coolest features, and that's the idea of going off on hunts for dangerous enemies. And that's where the story starts too. So Tomaj says, here's how it works. People post bills on the notice board when they have a monster they need taken care of. Headhunters track people, right? Well, hunters track monsters. The monster you're hunting is called your mark. So here's the bill I posted for the rogue tomato, the mark I petitioned to have hunted. Now you see this UI with the tomato? They actually use this kind of UI for hunts and stuff all over the place. I was playing 15 recently, and I noticed they did very similar stuff in that game. Kind of cool. So anyway, he's the starting guy. He's like a little weird, planty, human-y, or humanoid, I should say, tomato with scary teeth. It's actually a very cute thing. So anyway, do you want to hear the details? I'm going to say no, because I can teach this to you guys better than the game can. He says, all right, but I'll expect you to take care of the tomato for me. Oh, and I'll give you something to help you keep track of your hunts. A clan primer. Use it to refresh your memory about hunts you've accepted. So get key item here. And that will be in our inventory for the rest of the game. Go ahead and take this while you're at it. Just a little something to commemorate your first hunts. And he gives us some gear. So he says, oh, but you don't have the license to equip that gear. So think of licenses as mileposts, marking your progress as you improve in combat. Swords, bows, black magics, white magics, none of it does you a lick of good until you have the license. So you're wondering how you can equip it. Well, with a job, I'd say you're ready to hunt the mark. So he says, just head on out the gate. So, I'll skip over most of this dialogue just so that I can explain to you guys. He gives us a key item, the writ of transit, which lets us get through the gate. Everything's locked down at the moment because of the console. The east gate is the one you want to go out of. Yeah, there's lots of exits to the city. Like I said, the game is a very open world. We want the east one for now. Once we've taken care of the mark, let him know. And the hunt begins for the rogue tomato. There's a good number of hunts in the game. Most of them are completely optional, but they teach you the system right here. So I'm not going to do the tutorial here. I'm going to show you guys manually. If we press triangle, we've got the new equipment menu. Use equip command to modify a character's equipment. Use optimize to automatically equip the best equipment available. So you see we've got a dagger. We have nothing we can equip in the offhand right now. We're wearing some basic armor, a leather cap that gives us a bit of magic resist, and some leather clothing which gives us basic regular physical resist. And there is this accessory called an Orokeia armlet. But it's grayed out. We can't equip it. You can see, if you look on the left at my defense and magic resist, you'll see a blue number there. You'll see that if I equip this, it goes from 4 to 5. And if you look at the top right where my health is, you'll see I get a whopping 30 health from it. Or almost 30 health, 25 health. And we get a ton of MP, so it's a really good starter item. This basically just gives us some good stats. Makes us a lot more defensive, lets us cast more magic if we learn magic. But I can't equip it, so here's how this works. For all the gear in the game, you need a license. For all the spells in the game, you need a license. And for general other perks, you need a license. You earn licenses through jobs. In order to use weapons, armors, magics, you must first have a proper job. Select one that fits your playstyle. So, here's what we're going to do. Choose our job, also our class. Now, here's this message. It says, each character in this version of the game has a specific job based on their role. Read each description to pick the job best suited for your party member, or mix and match if you so desire. Be wary of challenge jobs. So in the original version of the game, I'm going to scroll over to Classic here because I can demonstrate this to you guys. There were no jobs. Everyone was the same. They all appeared on this big thing here. This is called the license board. And all these squares represent licenses for different things in the game. As you can see, here there's like different accessories, and if we look, there's different black magics here, and there's a ton of them. Look at this. It's massive. This is what the original PS2 release had, and different characters in your party just kind of started at different places. It was a fun idea, a little bit like 10 sphere grid, I suppose, but the problem with this was that as you went through, everyone just unlocked everything, and so you got all these party members, but I'm not joking, guys, everyone ends up just feeling the same, because everyone ends up getting everything, and it's like really unfun. It was one of the big problems with the PS2 release. So with XII, they added the idea of jobs. So here's an example of a job. And I've left one in specifically to show you guys. Bushi. So Bushi is a sword master who devotes themselves body and soul to their lords. And now if you look, it's a bit more limited. But you have a precise idea of what you're doing. A Bushi wears mystic armor. They won't find like heavy armor on here necessarily. And they have very specific weapons. You see katanas that they can use here. And they have very specific health augments and so on. So the game became balanced around these jobs. And these are all pretty fun. Unfortunately, they're also rather overpowered in the latest re-releases of the game. There's way more HP you can get from them, more strength, and of course there's that big ticket item, you can have 2 jobs at once. So there are 12 jobs, you're only supposed to be able to have half of them, but now you can have all of them, and it just kind of ruins the system. So instead, I have a new selection of modded jobs, which we'll be playing with, including some challenges. Here's the Iron Man challenge. This is basically just you can never get anything. It's like New Game Minus or Weak Mode, where you can never level up. Well, here's another version. What if you can't use any abilities or anything? Now, that would be way harder. That's, like, super difficult. I'm not going to pick this at all. A Pilgrim Challenge. I actually made this. The idea is that you get very specific stuff, but you can never... You do get perks, but you can never equip new gear. And you'll notice that there's these gaps leading to all these other islands. And it's like, how do you get there? Well, that I'll explain in later videos. But so this is a little challenge job I made for fun. What else have we got? Well, there is, in Struggle for Freedom, there's this weird idea for a job called a struggle job, which is that you're on a super linear path. So again, this is a bit like 10 sphere grid, I suppose, where each character gets no choice of what they do. They just have to follow one path. In Final Fantasy XIII, it was very similar as well with the Crystarium system, if you guys played that. I don't mean to talk about the other games too much, guys. I know some of you watching this video have no idea what I'm going on about. Don't worry, I'm just, I don't know, trying to be exhaustive with everything I say here. So that's the idea of a struggle job. What I'm doing instead is we will be picking these main ones here, these 6 jobs. And Vaan is a thief, so I'm going to be picking thief for him. I could go with any of the other ones. I could make him like a knight, say, over here. Focuses on striking down enemies with an array of weapons while defending one's own allies from harm. But we're going to go with thief instead, which is what this is actually designed for. So there you go, choose this job. And Vaan is a thief. And again, that should be a permanent decision. Once you've made that choice, that's it. That is your fate. And that's the theme of this game's gameplay and story. And you're kind of stuck with it. You take what you can get and strategize around that. But of course, with the new Switch release and Xbox release, and then the subsequent Steam patch, we can, in theory, swap this if we like, to even the vanilla stuff. All right, so there you go. So now that we have a job, Well, look, we've got these choices. We can give Vaan time magic or black magic or these daggers here, slightly stronger daggers than what we already have equipped. Over here, I could choose to give him some health. I could give him better armor, better shield. We can't equip any shields right now. There's all these choices. Every time you kill an enemy, you get 1 LP. Bosses give you more, and then you spend the LP on here. So if you look on the top left, it says Vaan the Thief has 6 LP. You see that? So this is the only thing we can afford right now. The Oricea Armlet for 5 LP. And the game's deliberately made this way that when you start out, this is the only thing you can get. So there you go. That's the license for the armlet. And we can come over to equip. And we can equip the accessory down here and get all of our health. There you go. That's how equipment and jobs works. There are so many jobs and fun and interesting things for us to look at as we go forwards, but we will be dealing with that in a future date, I suppose. So nothing's left now, but we're going to leave the city, and we are going to see a freaking dinosaur and all kinds of cool stuff out in the desert surrounding Rabanasta. That will be on the next part, guys. So thanks very much for watching. Hope you enjoyed. Really, to anyone who made it this late into the video and has given this series a shot, I can't tell you how much I appreciate that. Thank you so much. Don't forget about the playlist link in the description, and I'll see you for the next one very shortly.